Shifting focus then, let's get into conversation with the management of Century Plyboards. We've got Mr. Keshav Bhajanka, the Executive Director of the company, joining us on the show. Mr. Bhajanka, hi, good to be speaking with you. And, give us a sense of how, after the first quarter, are you seeing FY27 shape up for you? If I take a look at what the revenue growth has been, it's coming at 1,561 crore rupees. What's the revenue growth outlook for the rest of the year? And could it be higher than 30% on a year-on-year basis?
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Morning.
I think that Q1 has been very good. I think that the performance has been beyond our expectations, to be honest. Our plywood division has grown by close to 30%. And as you know, that this is historically the highest in the past so many years. Having said that, I think that our growth guidance is 20% plus annually. That is what we target for a company as a whole, and that is something that I believe we'll be able to achieve for the current year as well. Having said that, Q1 gives us a lot of confidence that we might perhaps be able to overachieve the same. And July has also been a good month. It has actually been the highest ever turnover month in the history of the company. So I think we are on a strong footing.
Okay. Hi, Mr. Bhajanka. This is Harsh here. Just very quickly, with regard to FY27, what will is there a guidance now that you have full year, or you're still withholding that?
We're still withholding that, and to be honest, it's not that we intentionally do the same. It's just that this war has caused a number of disruptions. So even we are unsure. We have aggressive plans, but currently to comment on the same becomes a little difficult. We want to see one more quarter, and then perhaps we can start a guidance again.
Guidance will start end of Q2.
Hopefully.
Understood. Okay. And with regard to what's driving the outsized volume growth, at least for the moment, is it price-led? Is it volume-driven? Is it price-led stocking that's playing out broadly? What's playing out? Give us a sense.
I think that, all these disruptions in the long term are very good for the organized sector in general. And us as market leaders, we have been able to gain market share. I think the initiatives that we have undertaken across businesses are now yielding results. And I think that it is a combination of both growth in the domestic market as well as market share gains on our part.
And in May, you had said that the 10 to 15% hike that you had undertaken would cover the cost spikes that you've seen. But yes, you're also seeing a roll back now. Right? Tell us what's playing.
There have been certain easing of cost pressures, a larger part of the price increase that we had undertaken. So segment by segment, it differs. I think that the main objective was to cover the cost increases rather than to expand margins. And this will be the state that continues for the short term at least, till, things don't settle down a bit.
Okay. And Mr. Bhajanka, just wondering if wood and chemical prices continue to stay elevated, how much more pricing power do you think you have before it affects demands? And incrementally then, what does that do to margins?
I think that, it is the same for everybody. Everyone is in the same boat, so to speak. Perhaps we are a little better off because we have economies of scale and we have access to more sources for raw material as compared to others. Having said that, I think the volatility is still there. I think that prices are off their peak. Wood prices are off their peak. Chemical prices are off their peak. But, that volatility is there weekly. There seems to be a huge fluctuation in chemical prices, and that continues to be a cause of concern.
Right. Mr. Bhajanka, while I understand that you're withholding guidance due to understandable reasons right now, I was just taking a look at your historic margin trend. From 16% in FY23, you've gone to 14.8 in FY26. With all this pricing action at play, and since you are mentioning that these prices are coming off highs, are you A, looking at reversing some of that pricing action, and B, any ballpark indication of what the margins could look like for the rest of the year?
Our objective is always to improve our margins. And I think that, a lot of the margin pressure is due to heavy capex on our part. As you know, ramping up new capacities takes a certain amount of time. But now the bulk of the capex is behind us. So I think you should see margins on the up.
And can you give us a timeline for when your Chennai expansion is going to be commissioned? And other than that as well, how quickly is the new MDF capacity ramping up? What is your utilization target over there?
Our MDF capacity is ramping up very quickly. I think that Q4 we will be exiting at close to 90% utilization. And as far as the Chennai plant is concerned, it already came under operation. I think you're talking about the particle board unit. So last year itself, it was commissioned, and the ramp up has been steady. Q1 has been the highest for us in terms of particle board, and I think that we're going to see that growth trajectory continue.
Odisha land selection, has there been an update with regard to that? And, has management decided between MDF versus particle board for that site?
Currently, our focus for both Uttar Pradesh and for Odisha will be plywood. As you know, that in plywood, we are very nearby to peak capacity. And now, considering the strong demand traction on the ground, we will need new capacities. So I think both Uttar Pradesh and Odisha, the focus will be on plywood first. Having said that, I think that, getting land is a little bit of a tricky process. Getting the right land that you want, it takes a little bit of time. So we don't have clarity on when we'll get that land. It could be in the space of a couple of quarters. But I think, on the safer side, we should play it by the ear.
Okay, playing it by the ear on that front. Mr. Bhajanka, on that note, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for your time today. Good to be speaking with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shifting focus then, viewers, in the latest edition of Deep Dive,